News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilworth with darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, and just for you, Joe, happy to wish you all the very start of World Space Week.
Oh, now there we go. World Space Week.
Well, and here's its official description. An international celebration of science and technology and their contribution to the betterment of the human condition.
Okay, interesting. Well, there you go. Space science is definitely the most interesting science, in my opinion, Allan. If I could go back in time, I've said this, I would study harder and I would have become a space scientist. I mean, it's fascinating, you have to admit, right?
Well, you know, you can still get a degree in space mining.
There we go. Yeah, who knows? So,
the next trillionaire will probably come from space mining.
Oh, right. Yeah, those asteroids that are made out of gold. And...
Isn't that the movie Armageddon?
Well, it always ends that way, Max. It always goes that direction.
Well, that's what happens when you hire a demolition crew.
All right. Well, Allan, we're still backlogged a little from our 2-week hiatus that we had before. But so, Allan, let's just commit to it. We are going to get to our 30 years of stupid. We're going to get to it right after our must-have item of the week because we put it off for a month now. But in our great moments in building history, we're continuing our Memphis-centric exploration, and this is the Memphis Central Railway Station.
Absolutely.
Which, ironically, is one of the first structures I ever came to when I moved here in Memphis. I'll tell you guys about that. But
okay, awesome.
Also, we have a tool tale, and I'm gonna put this out to you, and I'm gonna put it out to the listeners about intimidating tools. What are some of the most intimidating tools that you've encountered, or maybe that you even sort of steer clear of? I've got 2 or 3 right here in front of me that you couldn't pay me to use these things, man. And also, let's see, what else? Allan's Week in Review is probably going to be another, I don't know. We're backlogged on that, too. You've been busy. You don't sit still, man. I'll give you that.
I have been a busy little camper the last month. That is true.
Okay. And I think if we have time, we have another Cosmic Homeowner segment. So we have a lot going on today. And, of course, just for kicks, if you have any more good hazard signs or hazard symbols you want to throw in, that was pretty fun last week. We'll take those submissions as well. So get in touch with us for anything at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. But before we get to any of those things, let's get to our must-have item of the week, which I'm just going to point at, Allan. It's it's hard to reach over and grab it, but I guess, and I've posted this on the Facebook page if people want to check it out, but you can tell people what we've got here, sir. So,
well, you have a 3.5 quart container of dust control sheetrock joint compound.
Oh, I thought I got the gallon size. It sounds like they shortchanged me.
Nah, you got 3.5 quarts right there, 3.3 liters.
Okay, well, it's the dust control, and actually, I'm going to be using this at my own house. But Allan, this stuff is much denser. I like it. It says dust control, and one of the reasons I thought it was worth bringing in is because you don't just run to the store and say, "Give me the spackle" or "Give me the joint compound," because there's different applications, there's different types, there's different properties. But what makes this one so heavy, and how does it work to limit dust, basically, I guess? Because I honestly don't know. Hopefully you know.
Well, again, shockingly, this is one of these things I researched when I first got into doing this stuff back in the early 80s, because the big joke back then was to send you to the store to get a tub of mud.
Yeah, the
new kid. The new kid. You're the new runner. You've never done anything like this before. Now make sure it says mud on the package.
And they're all nodding. You got it, man. Like you know what they're talking about.
Yeah. You get there and all they have is joint compound. You're like, oh my gosh. Okay, let's start with spackle.
Okay.
That is what everybody knows. All right, spackle is a very lightweight material that will harden into something that resembles, sheetrock. Basically, it's there to fill a nail hole.
Yeah.
It is really not designed to do anything else.
Spackle's the wimpiest, we could say.
Now, it is absolutely, it is more air than it is that. Now, the minute you add the word joint compound to it, I'm going to tell you to immediately think of this as liquid wall.
Oh, interesting. Liquid wall.
It's liquid wall. Now, the first problem is there's 20 different types.
Right.
If you are looking at the stuff that comes in a bag, the stuff in a bag, all of it is a chemically activated, AKA just like concrete or paint, it has chemicals in it. It has a lime mixture in it that causes a chemical reaction that hardens it once you've mixed it with water.
Because the ones in the boxes are powder. You mix it yourself.
Bingo.
You like that one, don't you?
Well,
because you're a cook. You like to...
well, it's not the cook thing. It's I'm usually up 18, 20 feet on a scaffold somewhere, and I am not going to climb all the way down to go get some mud, to climb all the way back up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that small bag of 20-minute mud with me and a gallon of water, and I'm going to mix it up 20 feet in the air, and I'm going to patch that hole. And while I'm busy around other things, in 20 minutes, that patch will be dry enough, quote unquote dry, aka hard enough to sand.
Oh,
now,
you go for the quick dry stuff.
I want the stuff that's going to set up, especially when I'm working at height.
Mm-hmm.
Now, generally, if I'm working on the ground, I like pre-mixed mud. Now, pre-mixed mud does not have a hardener in it. It actually hardens by drying and reacting with oxygen.
This is sort of a semantic question, but didn't you once say essentially that these things don't necessarily dry, they just cure or harden it?
Exactly correct. It cures like concrete does. We say it dries. Well, we even say latex paint dries, and that's not true.
Visually, and when you touch it, it seems like it's drying.
It feels like, well, it is drying, but it's drying because there's a chemical process going on.
Yeah.
So then we get into how much wall is actually in that suspension. And thus you get lightweight, midweight, heavyweight, because the rest of it is basically an adhesive.
Okay. So is there more adhesive in this one that makes it less dusty?
That makes it less dusty. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So welcome to the wonderful world of gypsum dust.
Yeah.
This is basically what we come down to. But for a few seconds, for those of you that have never played with it, when you walk in the store, if it's in a bag, it's going to have a number on it. And it's going to say 5, 20, 30, 60, 90. These are the minutes you have until you can't work with it anymore.
And my rule of thumb is I take those minutes and I cut it about in half because this stuff usually dries faster than you think.
Do not use warm water.
Now that's interesting. Why not?
Because that accelerates it. Do not use warm water. So the idea is you want to mix it to the consistency you want or need, depending upon what you're doing. Mm-hmm. If you're just doing regular everyday wall repair and you're not in a hurry, the pre-mixed sheetrock joint compound, what we affectionately call mud, is great. There is a problem with it, however.
Yeah.
It ferments. It has all of these little air bubbles in it. So you need to stir it before you use it. Or you're going to have all those little pock marks in your sheetrock when you're done.
And sometimes you get something where it gets a little skin on top where you almost have to remove it first.
You do have to remove that.
Now, is there an instance where aeration is actually a decent thing? Because our bones are sort of aerated. They have little holes inside of them.
Again,
I guess you have to have some, right? Allan, you got to have some air.
Looking at what density you're looking for and how and where you're working and the material you're working on. Because I will freely admit I will use joint compound to close up a crack almost anywhere, especially if it's going to be covered over by something else. Because it's basically, again, the rule is think of this stuff as liquid wall.
I like that term, liquid wall, because that is interesting.
Well, when you get that in your head, suddenly you understand what you're doing.
Right. And the limits and the the opportunities.
And then the big thing is, so what's the tape for? Ah.
Now, I know what it's for, but go ahead.
Well, what's the tape for, Joe?
Well, so when it expands and contracts and moves, then it doesn't just get a big crack down the...
Exactly, because your wall, the wood that this stuff is attached to, is going to breathe and move.
Right.
I kind of like the idea, the older that I get and the more I learn about these things, it's interesting how much more fluid and in motion our universe is. Like, nothing is truly fixed. Your thing about the liquid wall makes me think of this philosopher named Thales, who surmised that the world was all water, which isn't entirely untrue.
Now, that's an interesting... what would we do without... What the world would look like without water?
Without fluidity.
Yeah. All right, we're going to ponder that. We're going to ponder that fluid conception. But actually, Allan, before we move on, this is stirring a question for me about concrete that I want to run by you when we come back.
Okay.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
All right, Matt. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And before we move along, for our must-have item of the week, I brought in a gallon of dust control joint compound, which is denser. It's got, you told me, Allan, it's got more adhesives in it, and it makes it less dusty, basically, when you're starting to sand it and everything. It makes the dust easier to manage.
Right, and that is also, I'll throw in another one for you, that is a blue capped.
Right.
Blue capped.
Yeah, because a lot of them are green.
Well, the green is the thicker, heavier, denser one that actually shrinks a little more than this does. This is a great top coat, but it doesn't have the same adhesion as the green.
Now, that's interesting.
The green lid.
I would have thought it was the opposite, but that's a good point too, because in my mind I think of joint compound and concrete in similar ways, only because a lot of times you're mixing it yourself, or
right.
it deals with drying and all, or as you say, curing and everything. But that's a good point, because the green, if you put it in a really big opening, for one thing, you can't just slap that stuff on. You're better off putting like 4 thin layers than 2 thick layers, because it will separate. It'll look like a cracked desert or something.
It'll go all
and it'll
kinds of
never
horrible
dry
on you.
fat. It'll never. So, but my question had to do with concrete, because you say you like to mix your joint compound yourself, because you get the quick dry. You go for the 20-minute stuff.
Most of the time, yeah. In a lot of cases, I do. Yeah.
Well, with concrete, here's my question, because there's this sort of I feel like I've seen this, and I don't know, maybe I've even engaged in this myself, where you're mixing it and it's like, okay, I need a little extra time to work with this stuff. So your mindset is, well, if I make it a little waterier, add more water, and it will give me more time to work with it. But to me, that's not a good thing, right? I mean, you're changing the balance of how much water and how much powder and everything. Is that right? Because
you are adjusting the strength of your concrete.
You're weakening it, right?
Exactly.
And the same with joint compound.
Exactly.
You're diluting it.
You are making a change to the product.
Okay. Well, I was just making sure, because I think I've seen things where people will throw a bag of concrete into a hole for a fence post, and then they pour the water in afterwards, and they take like a stick and mix it up. I'm like,
that works. That works.
Yeah, but think of all the dry pockets you're probably get. I don't know. I guess.
Well, I got news for you. Further south than here, I will even dry pour and just leave it.
Oh, so you're a dry pourer, huh?
Well, I mean, I have, but the reason I'll say that is it wet season or is it dry season? How much water's in that soil?
You're going.
Is it about to rain? Now, honestly, we actually built a fence this year in Memphis. We got the fence in, so everything's propped, everything's ready to go. We got all the posts in, everybody's lined up. We checked the weather because the temperature changed.
Yeah.
The temp literally changed on us. We're working, it's like 105, then suddenly it's 90. And I went, oh, there's a storm coming. There
You
is a
felt
storm
the cool
blowing
air
in.
coming in.
So we knew the storm was coming, and we saw the clouds off in the distance. So, but we still had like 9 posts to mix and pour. And I'm like, fill the holes up. Just pour. Dry concrete, let's pour it. Brace it, let's go. And I want you to know that storm came along and set those concrete posts beautifully.
That sounds like an on-air confession, Max. I think that's the first one we've gotten out of Allan. I don't know. I would love to know what a concrete man thinks
That
of
almost sounds like a cosmic homeowner thing because you're working with your jobs in alignment with nature.
Well,
I don't know,
again,
man.
You
Mother
gotta
Nature
have,
finished the job.
Now, I would never do that in August
Okay, where it's
because
just gonna
you
be
don't have enough. There's not enough moisture in the soil to save the day.
Okay. See, I don't know, man. I like to know how much water is going into this thing. and-
Normally, I'm going to have the concrete tub out there. We're going to pre-measure the concrete. We're going to pre-measure that water. We're going to get the mix just right, especially if I'm pouring handrails.
Well, yeah,
I would
all
never,
the weight
I
you're
would
gonna put on
never
those.
dry pour a handrail.
Okay. All right. Well, it was something to think about. So I guess, yeah. And as we say, it is curing. It's not drying.
It is a chemical reaction.
All right. Well, let's shift gears. Max, we put this off long enough. We got to get to this.
Looks like a loose nail.
1 out of 25 ain't bad.
You don't have any code violations, do you?
Nope.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
What do you think of the house that Love built? Oh, shoot.
So we have a 30 years of stupid that, Allan, I think you brought this up 4 or 5 weeks ago. And in that intervening time, I actually encountered the identical problem.
Oh, okay.
So I thought let's unpack this on the air. And it also gives me an opportunity to talk about a new wood that I've never used before that you're very familiar
Ooh,
with. So.
okay.
But
Awesome.
anyway, do you want to go first or you want
I
me?
can go first.
Okay.
I can go first because, you know, you get on. I love the phone call that begins with "I don't know what happened."
I got to admit, you get great phone calls because your friends have learned that they better be succinct and directly to the point when they call.
I ain't
So
got
it's
to,
They don't even say hello. It's like, Allan, my basement's underwater.
Exactly.
I think
It's
there's
like,
a score. I think there's a pig in my tree.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No preamble,
No,
telling you who it
we
is.
just need to get right to it. So,
Right.
I get the call, the friend of a friend, hey, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I did all this, and now it is just crumbling. You're like, okay, well, let me come take a look at it. And you walk out, and let me guess, you got the 2x4 from the pretty shiny 2x4 stack when you built this, didn't you? Yeah. They were right there in the. Okay, that's an interior board. Well,
They were nice and lightweight, too.
Yeah,
they
were
weighed
easy
half
to
of what the other
They were
one.
easy to
Yeah.
drill. They were
Right.
everything. Yeah, you did not use the right wood. So here you went and stuck inside wood outside. And
Oh, man.
ladies and gentlemen, you should see Joe's face when I said that.
Just.
It's just the look of sheer pain
Yeah.
of, yes, the inside wood is a little cheaper. Yes, it's a whole lot lighter, and it is easier to work with. And in 3 to 5 years, guess what? You get to do it all over again.
Right.
Because it's not going to make it.
That's what I was going to say is, aren't you guys of the philosophy of using outdoor materials inside, like outdoor screws interiorly, exterior wood interiorly?
Okay,
It depends.
I do not use pressure-treated wood inside of a building.
Because
However,
right?
I will use exterior screws all over a bathroom because there's going to be water. And it's one of those, there's going to be water and moisture.
Now, Max,
So I will use galvanized.
I'll give you this though, because I don't know if this is a compromise or whatever, but I was building. I spent I had that big project where I built that room addition and a carport for in Midtown. Well, there was one wall, Max, that was very exposed, and it was. As a matter of fact, I made that one with 2x6s instead of. I framed it with 2x6s, just this one wall because it was facing west, and I used treated lumber on that wall.
Okay.
Treated 2x6s because just just in case water ever found.
Yeah, but that's you're dealing with a laundry room and a carport.
And it was covered by sheetrock and insulation.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, nobody's going to get arsenic poisoning with this. So, but yeah, Max, you don't necessarily want to use that stuff inside. There's not a huge advantage for that. But anyway.
But you need to, this is where you're going to get into where I'm going to say the proper product in its proper place.
Oh, yeah.
Of if you use the wrong type of caulk someplace, it's not going to hold.
Interior paint, you're not supposed to use it outside.
It's not going to hold up outside. It's
Right.
just going to sun bleach, and 3 to 5 years from now, you'll be doing it again.
And it might mildew, right? Because they don't have that mildew stuff in there.
It can rot. I have actually seen a 5-gallon bucket, interior ceiling white, grow mold.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
Oh, yeah, right there. You open it up. I mean, it's been, we bought that months ago. It's just been sitting over there.
Yeah.
And you pop the top on it, and it's like, and we won't be using this.
I kind of have a question once we come back from the show, from break. It has to do with overcomplicating things and vanity.
Oh, very interesting. So you're getting into human psychology and yep. No, but it's interior stuff. Yeah, and you encountered all this wood that you basically had to replace.
My gosh. All had to come down. Just tore it down.
Well, I had
nothing to save.
I had a similar conundrum that came up, but it also provided an opportunity to work with a new wood that actually I'm looking forward to learning more about. You're very familiar with this wood. So we're going to talk about that when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Ow! Those gears down there really hurt.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And I just posted a picture. Boy, that was right down to the second, Allan, of we're in the middle of 30 years of stupid, and we're bemoaning the fact that we both. It's funny how these things happen at the same time, Al. You were on a job site where these customers had somebody back in the day they put interior wood on an exterior project. It sounds like this thing was fully exposed to the weather.
Oh, it had no place to hide.
Yeah, and what did they say? How long it lasted? I mean, we usually give these things a year.
It was less than 3 years.
Okay.
Oh no, they did it.
They confessed.
Oh, they freely confessed. I mean, but they were like, the old one was like 30 years old and falling apart. So we took a picture of it and went down to the big box store and bought everything, and we built a new one. And they actually did a really nice job. Their mistake was the 2x4s were interior, not exterior, and it lasted about 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And now it was just coming apart, and they were really heartbroken because they'd taken pictures and had followed, followed, and
the before and after.
It looked great and it worked beautiful for a year. And I'm like, well, let's do the same thing again, but let's use the right stuff.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
Okay, good. So, well, I had a successful operation too, but so my customer, she has this is another 100-year-old midtown home, but this house has had a complete renovation. Like everything is modern and updated, and it's really nice. And so she has this on the side of her house, and I just posted a picture on our Facebook page. So if you go to @Tool Talk Radio on Facebook, you can see the before and after. And if you can imagine this, Allan, this is a big door. This is one of these like 8-foot doors. This thing was 2¼ inches thick.
Oof.
It was meant for a front door, though. It was meant to be on a house, not to be fully exposed on both sides. It's in a brick wall with an archway, and it is completely exposed to the elements.
Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't have done this, and this was not a cheap door. So she said she wanted to get a quote to replace this door, and she goes, maybe I'll just get one of these big, heavy-duty iron doors. Well, the quote she got was like $9,000. And she said, I don't love this door that much. So basically, if you look on the Facebook page, folks, it's an archway. And what basically, those old magnets that used to be like a horseshoe-shaped magnet?
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. So the outside horseshoe, you could say, was intact. the guts in the middle,
Right.
the panel and everything was in the middle was. And so while I was at it too, and it had these really nice little spindle things in the middle that I saved, but she bought one of those gas the backup electricity, the backup generator that's run by natural gas.
Okay.
She just installed one of those, and she hated the fact that you could see it from through this door. So she said,
Right.
"Could you make this about a foot, 8 inches or a foot taller?" So I did. But basically, I rebuilt the middle. It took a little while, but it was much, much less than $9,000 to fix this door.
Okay.
But I didn't have a choice. I did have to paint it and everything, but I used I primed every single edge that you could possibly do. I used the heaviest duty adhesives I could. I've got screws strategically placed, and I dare any water to get into this. But Allan, this was the part that was interesting. I went to we have a really good woodworking shop around here in Memphis, and I got their recommendation, and they recommended 2 woods to me. One of them was white oak, and the other was cypress. And when I looked at it, I'm
choices.
like, I'll take the cypress all day because it was a softer wood. It looked a lot like what was on there. But Allan, you're off the air. You were telling me all about cypress, and I didn't know any of this stuff. It sounds like a really interesting wood. I have to say, it was very easy to work with, and it's nice. It's a nice wood.
Well, for anybody that has a standard cypress tree, they do grow in Memphis. They don't grow much further north than Memphis, so I don't think our listeners in Nashville or Chicago are going to run into a cypress. But you can find them here in Memphis. And the reason cypresses are not popular in people's yards is cypresses have a really cool trick called a knee.
A knee.
Knee. A knee. Just like you have a knee, they put up what we call a cypress knee. And this is basically a snorkel so that it can get oxygen, it can get air to its roots because they grow in swamps.
Wait, this is a man-made thing? Or
No, the tree grows it itself.
Now that's it grows its own snorkel.
Is cypress the only one that knees?
They're the ones that do it the best. And if you're trying to cut your yard, they're the ones that do it the worst.
Why do they call it a knee? That's odd.
That's
to
just
me.
what they decided it looked like a knee.
I could call it a chimney or maybe it's a chimney that got shortened to knee.
Possible. But
How big is this knee, and how big do cypress trees get?
the cypress trees get 60, 70 feet.
Joe, I
they
think
can
your
be.
spelling is a little off because it's not chimney, Knee.
No,
it's N-E-Y.
I know.
Well,
that,
he's going for phonetics.
colloquial.
Not spelling. Yeah, so a cypress can be a rather huge tree.
But you can grow these in swamps, basically.
They are everywhere in the state of Louisiana.
Because these guys at the wood workshop, they told me this is not going to rot.
No, this is a swamp tree.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, there is a whole specialty industry in Louisiana right now of recovering what they call swamp logs.
I mean, they sound
So 100 years ago, 150 years ago, when you cut down the tree and you threw it in the water and you floated it down to the barge, not all the trees made it. Some of them sank.
Yeah.
Well, they've been laying in the mud down there for 100, 150 years, and they are worth an amazing amount of money if you can find one and drag it out of the mud and get it to the wood supplier.
You just made me think of something, Allan, because one of my hobbies is we like to go down to the river and pick up driftwood, like especially after the river's been way up and then it goes down again.
Oh, yeah.
And you recover. Some of them make really cool walking sticks, and you cannot replicate that smoothing.
No,
whatever is some of that. You think cypress? I mean,
I doubt it. Now, if you were to go river hopping further south than Memphis, you might pick up cypress. But most of what you're getting at the Memphis level is you're going to be getting oak, hickory, pine, that kind of stuff that's coming
right,
down the river
it's
from above
we're getting
us.
the northern
Right, we're
stuff.
we're the northern stop up here.
Yeah.
So we're getting the stuff that fell in, up in the
Illinois.
Missouri River, the Illinois, the Ohio.
Okay.
Well, what you want is the stuff. Now, see, when you get down into like Louisiana and Alabama, southern Mississippi, all the way around the edge of Texas, all the way down, you get into some beautiful cypress.
Yeah.
And they're just huge. They're beautiful. But if they're in the water, they have knees.
Wow.
And the knees are also really collectible for folks into doing folk art and that kind of stuff.
Are they hollow?
No,
Are they
it's
just
solid
porous,
wood.
or-
It's a porous wood, but it is exceedingly moisture resistant.
It sounds like a fascinating tree. Like the more I learned about it, and then the truth is too, folks. When I went to this shop, they because they were recommending white oak or cypress, but
good
for one
choices.
thing, white
Right.
oak was much harder, and I know what oak has a tendency. You got to drill it; it can split
Right.
and all that. But also price wise, cypress was like a third of the price, so it was
Okay.
pretty reasonably priced. So if you have something, I could see making cypress tables or things like that to put outside. I don't know.
Well, it is a very
nice
moisture-resistant wood. Like I said, it is a swamp tree. It is from the swamp. It is designed to be around water.
Well, I'm becoming a cypress fan. I'd love to get a hold of one of these knees. How long are we talking 30 or 40 feet? Like how long are these knees?
Now they're usually a foot or two, but they can get 8 or 9 feet tall.
Okay. Interesting.
I'll take you by some later.
Yeah.
I'll show you where they are.
Yeah, so that sounds good. But anyway, it was a successful project. It's always cool learning about new things you've never used before. So
We actually have an anonymous texter, number 9241, said that Reelfoot Lake is cypress.
Yes, it is.
Reelfoot Lake. Wait, where is that?
A little north of here, up just off the Mississippi.
What do you mean 9241? Like the whole, it's just covered in cypress trees?
There's cypress trees all around Reelfoot Lake.
So would they be partially submerged, partially up on the land, or they're just they
There's
grow
cypress
everywhere?
knees everywhere.
Pretty interesting stuff, man. So okay, well, I just wonder. All right, I'm really interested in learning more about cypress trees. So, all right, well, hey, also I'm a little remiss, Alan. We were supposed to talk about our good friends over at Groundworks. Now, I don't know that they use cypress in their operations for foundations. That they're more about concrete and
a lot of steel.
Yeah, but we love the folks over at Groundworks. They are all about protecting your foundation. And all of our foundations are different. You could have a crawl space or a slab or a basement or a combination of both like Allan has. And a healthy foundation is critical for a healthy home. And sometimes your foundation problems aren't so obvious. You might have a musty smell or a squeaking floor, or one of the telltale signs are those stair-step cracks you have in your bricks outside or above your doors. And so if you suspect you have any issues with your foundation, please get in touch with our friends over at Groundworks. It's a free, comprehensive inspection. And as Allan has seen, he's visited their facility over on State Line Road. Allan, they are all in. They have they have everything you need to fix your foundations, from the biggest problems to the smallest. And their crews are ready to go. And when you get this inspection, it's like getting a comprehensive inspection at the checkup at the doctor. It's going to tell you all the issues you have with your foundation, and if there's a problem, they can fix it. And the visit is free, so there's really no reason not to do it. So get in touch with our friends at Groundworks. Go to groundworks.com or call them at 901-459-2290. Good people over there, and I think they're a little overdue for a visit, right? Have you talked to Kurt lately?
We'll have them in sometime soon.
Okay.
It's funny things that trigger people. Before we go to break and everything, I think this is a fun little fun fact.
Yeah.
We got from Lynn and Danny Varee. They said that cypress is also known as gopher wood, and that the Ark in the Bible was made out of cypress.
Well, there you go. That's right. And it had pitch, exactly. So, okay, Lynn and Danny, very good points. Yeah, cypress, you never know what's going to get people talking, but cypress wood is definitely a cool wood. And I'm going to learn more about it. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Remember before when I was talking about smelly garbage standing around being useless? That was a metaphor. I was actually talking about you.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we've talked about a lot of things. Today is actually World Space Week. Maybe it'll be an opportunity to get into a cosmic homeowner discussion. Wait, we got all week to do this, right, Max? So technically next week we could even do that? Or do we probably want to nail this down today? So, but anyway,
I prefer succinctness.
Space science is such an interesting study, anyway. But also we've been learning a lot about cypress, which is a cool wood, and I plan on doing more projects with it. I really enjoyed working with it, and they tell me my woodworking friends tell me this is going to hold up and handle the weather.
It will.
Okay. All right. I've got something here I want to run by you guys. So go ahead, Max.
And now, Tool Tales with Tool Talk Radio.
And I don't know. This is something that, Allan, I had a question, and it was like, what are some tools that you find intimidating? Or will you admit to this on air, Allan? I've got a couple of tools you could not. Well, no, there's one tool you couldn't pay me to use this thing, even though it's probably really efficient and it's super helpful. There's one I have used, but I don't like to use it in this fashion. So
there are a couple of tools I'm terrified of letting somebody else use.
Oh, now that's an interesting way of putting it. So, okay, well,
I personally am very
first,
comfortable.
Yeah.
And one of them right out of the hat is a grinder.
What's wrong with the grinders? Feel pretty safe to me, but yeah, what is it about?
That is the number one tool that injures the most people.
Are you kidding?
The grinder.
Why is that?
Because people are not careful around it.
Let me guess. I bet I can guess some of the problems you've encountered with it. Does it involve not keeping some water nearby?
You gotta keep some water nearby.
Right.
You can't touch anything, and that thing spins really, really fast.
You're talking about a little bench grinder where you sharpen your chisel or something? What are you talking about?
I am talking about a freestanding grinder.
How big are we talking, though? Like
I'm talking like either battery-powered or plug-in, but you see people in metal shops and around welding all the time. You're thinking a bench grinder.
I mean, that thing does not look intimidating to me, but
that thing is dangerous.
It's interesting because it never bothers me, but I could see where somebody
it doesn't bother me, but it bothers me when somebody goes, "Hey man, let me grab your grinder. I got this burr up here on this piece of metal," and I'm thinking,
"Oh, you're talking about the hand."
I'm talking about a hand grinder, baby.
Well, those can be a lot more.
They are the number one tool causing the most injuries.
Do they snag on things and then they kick back?
People don't pay attention to where that blade is.
And they're shooting out sparks at things that maybe they could.
And things and stuff catches on fire.
Metal shards.
Stuff is flying around. People don't use proper eye protection. So I'm not worried about using the grinder. I am usually pretty terrified unless I have specifically just ridden you like a horse around the block twice
and said, "Look,"
on how to use a grinder. That is the one tool I lock up. I don't want it. The other is any form of router.
That's on my list. Go ahead, because that was my second item.
And again, it's because it has a spinning, fleeing blade.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all right, a hedge clipper. Everybody sees the big hedge clipper, but it looks like a giant sawfish. So everybody's careful to keep their hands back and use it properly.
It's very obvious where you don't touch.
It's very obvious what you don't touch. On rare occasion, have I ever heard of anybody harming themselves with a chainsaw? Because we've all seen enough bad movies with chainsaws in them.
Yeah.
We all understand the funny looking end is bad. We all get that.
I don't know. There's some pretty good YouTube videos of people misusing chainsaws.
What people do for hits, that has nothing to do with reality. So the two that they don't frighten me, but they frighten me secondarily, routers and angle grinders. Just, the handheld grinder. And it's just because I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right. Now, see, I had one assistant one time, and to give her a massive shout out, for some reason, she had the touch.
Okay.
She just had the right pressure, the right thing. She was utterly terrified of the router.
Really?
She would rather wrestle a tiger than touch a router.
Yeah.
And I literally spent 2 days with her, showing her everything I could show her about it. And about a week later, I go by the main shop.
Yeah.
And not only is she using the router, she has got like 40 pieces of wood piled up. She had taken over a complete bathroom renovation job for a building that needed like 40 toilet paper backings. So they were doing 12 by 12 boards to put on the wall, to put the toilet paper on, but they wanted them to look fancy. And she's like, got it.
Hold my beer.
And she is out there making sawdust to the point you could barely see her.
Right.
And she was having the best time. But there was 2 full days of training before she got to any level of comfort with that tool.
Well, because the router was the second on my list, and it's not about, I'm kind of like you. It's like, I know how to use it, but I would not let somebody that doesn't know what they're doing use it. But there is one application with the router it's on my list even for myself, and that is freehand cutting with the router.
Yeah.
Because there's a big difference. I know what you're talking about. With her, she was doing these edges, so there was that little roller on the cutter,
right,
folks. And if you can imagine, some router bits have a roller on there where you just push it against there and you gently keep that. That's a guide, basically. But then there's router bits that have nothing.
Right.
And like for dado joints and things. And those things, there's a pretty funny episode of Home Improvement where Tim says, give me the router. And he does it in a half a second. He's just carved like a whole, whatever. It ruined like this 4x8 sheet of plywood because it went everywhere. Because a router will just spin anywhere.
Yeah.
And kick things out and gouge up the wood and destroy it and stuff. So freehand cutting with a router, because sometimes you'll see people like, oh, I do these decorative things with that. No, forget that, man. So, but the other one for me is a motorized post hole digger. You see these videos where there's 2 guys on each side. I mean, you talk about, those are the main ones you see on YouTube. And then it snags something and it kicks the guys off, and then it just keeps spinning.
Yeah.
And doesn't stop. I mean, I would think there's a safety handle that.
Well, when you let go, it idles.
A lot of times, though, it keeps going. But
well, that's because some ingenious person put a piece of tape or something on the grip handle so that it wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I don't like those, man. So, but I would just do the slower one, just dig it. I don't know, but those are just a few intimidating tools. If you've got any, let us know about them. I think that's going to be on the table today too. So, well, Allan, we have a lot coming up in the second hour of Tool Talk Radio, including our great moments in building history, talking about the Memphis Central Railway Station.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just waking up and you're kicking yourself that you missed what was happening on Tool Talk Radio earlier, Allan, let's just remind everybody there's no need to fear, right? I mean, there's
no
a
need to fear
solution.
at all. They can keep up with all of our we'll refer to them as tool shenanigans. They can keep up with us at tooltalkradio.com. Pop over there, give us a like, subscribe if you'd like. We are carried podcast around the world by wonderful suppliers like Spotify and YouTube. So you can take us along with you anywhere. And ladies and gentlemen, there is honestly years of content waiting for you.
Yeah, just put it on and get to work on your house. Or,
Absolutely.
you know,
We are great motivational background noise.
Yeah, I think so. And somehow, so a few things on the table that are kind of in the mix. Well, it's World Space Week. Nobody's really chimed in on that. It is mushroom season. I'm thinking at some point soon, Alan, we're going to get a mushroom discussion from you, right? Because
today they're coming up today.
Oh, okay, good, perfect. And I had mentioned that I had used a wood that I've never used before, at least as far as I know. I've never used. I used some cypress wood to for an outside job, and Max, that's sort of activating the text line. Didn't we get some other text about this? So
For some reason, people like their cypress.
Cypress is a cool wood. I'm a fan. I've become a fan now.
They said 9241 said, Max, search Muddy Wood Guitar Billy Gibbons talk about cypress triggering.
Cypress triggering? Wait, what does that
As
mean?
in triggering a discussion.
Oh, okay. So Billy, he's from ZZ Top, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He is one of the bearded ones. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is one of the holy bearded ones. And yes, he has a awesome guitar, if you look it up, that is made from cypress.
So what do you think the advantage of that is? What is that? Is that give it a certain sound?
Well, it's a nice lightweight wood that is very, very durable. Therefore, when you're using an instrument on stage, as we love to point out, anybody that works with tools, I'll pick on Abe Lincoln for a minute. They said that Abe Lincoln, when he became president, could hold an axe straight out in his arm.
Okay.
All right, so he's getting older, but if you've ever had to hold something that weighed, 3 or 4 pounds
you're
for an
saying
extended period of time. So if you've got a good lightweight wood that can knock 2 or 3 pounds off of something that you're going to wear on your shoulder for a couple of hours.
That's a good point, man. Every ounce counts when you're playing the guitar, especially if you're on tour and every night you're going to be doing this.
Well, you've worn a tool belt a few times.
Yeah.
And, after a few hours, you've been trudging around with 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It does feel good at the end of the day when you take that off.
When you take that baby off, you feel like you're 40 pounds lighter. So,
and
yeah.
I'm always fascinated with the craftsmanship that goes into musical instruments. Maybe that could be something we showcase one day too, Alan, because think of what goes into making musical instruments and all the detail and all the properties of wood that come into play to get just that right sound, man.
We didn't even talk about old Stradivarius.
There you
Why
go.
It's so good.
Well, that's on the table, so feel free to keep chiming in on as we celebrate cypress wood. But speaking of celebrating, let's celebrate something else.
Oh, the humanity.
I don't know if you're in a celebratory mood with what you did, but let's find out what Allan did this week, which really I think is kind of also what you've done over the last 3 weeks, because we're gonna
as Inigo Montoya says, let me explain. No, let me sum up.
Yeah. I think you're gonna be summing up for a few more weeks. So
let's see. The most interesting thing I got to do in the last few weeks was actually put in a set of basement stairs.
Basement stairs.
So, So property we're working on has a basement. And, as the property has been coming along, there was a ladder into the pit for a while.
That's pretty lame.
That's, that gets a little tiring after a while. So, now the full set of stairs has gone in. All the supports are up. It has now been bolted to the wall. Ta-da! And the handrail has been installed. So,
hold on a second. There was a ladder. Was that the original design? Somebody stuck a ladder there, or is this just like a replacement while the stairs were out?
There was probably some stairs.
Sounds like a pain,
man.
man.
Point.
Oh boy.
That I'm sure I wouldn't have let a raccoon go down, and all that had to be torn out.
Okay.
Removed.
Okay. So this was a temporary measure.
This was a temporary measure, but the stairs are in. They're wonderful. They feel good. The problem from the door into the basement was there was a gap between where the stairs had to go and the actual wall that would be supporting them. So everybody was at a loss, and I'm kind of like, watch this. Let's start with the 2x6. Let's get that installed into the wall. Now let's get let's put another one up next to it. Look, magically we filled the space. We've got good secure places to screw things into, and now the stair no longer wiggles, creaks, jiggles, or anything. So it's good, solid, clean fun.
A 2x6 is a great piece of wood.
Oh my gosh.
I love those.
It solves so many problems.
Yep.
The rest of this tale, I'm going to use the word mulch because it is fall. And, one, I would like to give a big shout out to our city of Memphis, because if you drive down Walnut Grove, the city of Memphis has found a perfect use for all of your old Christmas trees.
Is that what that is?
They make
I've seen
mulch
that
out
pile.
of it. Yeah. So, when they go around and pick up all the tree limbs and stuff, that all becomes mulch. And they have a huge pile of it out there for free.
That's cool. Because it's right by the BMX track over
exactly.
there. Yeah, you can see it. You just see guys.
You just drive by, and you know what? Get in line, and take you home some mulch. However, let's say a few words about mulch. One, you got to have it. It's a wonderful topic. However, don't put it on too thick, and don't put it on the wrong directions. I've had to correct 2 jobs in the last
wrong directions.
AKA, don't mound it so that it pushes water to your house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that a bunch of times, and somehow in the last 2 weeks, I'm like, why did you do this? You listened to this show. Why would you do it like this? The other one I'm going to bring up is the tree volcano.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you just mound it up the side of the tree. No. Mulch is supposed to be a moat. It's supposed to go around the tree, not up the tree. Because you can actually kill your tree by piling mulch up the side of it.
Yeah.
Because it can start decaying the bark and that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you a mulch question?
Absolutely.
And this is good. This may be the dumbest question I've ever asked you. But then again, it may not, because I know you think about things this way too. So, okay, so folks, Allan's not kidding. If you go over by Shelby Farms, before you get there, there's that BMX track where the kids race their bikes. Well, this pile is massive, and people, you're invited to get free mulch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a question. This pile of mulch is sitting there, and it's exposed to the elements and everything. Yep. Well, if you wanted to get the optimal mulch, like I'm thinking, would you get it from the north side or the south side, or would you dig under 3 or 4 feet and get the top layer out of your way and get the interior mulch, or do you want the outside mulch, the sun-baked mulch? Where would you go for that pile if it was you?
It's actually not that crazy
there you
question.
Go. I had a feeling.
Because in Memphis history, before they began giving it away, they were stockpiling it for a variety of things, and it self-ignited.
Well, I wondered how flammable this is. I mean,
well, it burned over there off of back behind Summer Avenue for years. They make the mulch and they get rid of the mulch now. Happily, that pile turns fast enough; it doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
So it doesn't make any difference for there. Howsoever, mulch is going to age at your house. That's the whole point of it, is to decay and become part of your soil.
Okay.
So every year or two, you need to refresh your mulch, and you may need to get a good 3-claw rake and remove mulch, because you don't want it, you just want to keep piling it up on the side of the house. So you may need to remove and turn and refresh. And that brings up mushrooms and fire ants.
Well, which we'll probably get to when we come back, because I am curious since we're in mushroom season. But Allan, you didn't really answer. So would you want the dry sun-baked mulch, or do you want the interior mulch?
To be honest, I want the sun-baked, driest, easiest, lightest mulch.
Okay.
Because that's gonna, it's still gonna do its job. The deep interior mulch has a tendency to be a little warm.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So mulch tips here on Tool Talk Radio, but doesn't sound like the worst week in the world.
No, not too bad.
But it is an opportunity to talk about mushrooms because it is mushroom season. And mushrooms can be your friend or they could be a deadly enemy.
Oh, boy.
We'll talk about that when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Dying tickles.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Believe it or not, that's relevant to what Alan's about to say.
I think you're right. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And Allan, I got to do this. We're only 3.5 weeks away, so this is fair game. I do have to mention, folks. I don't have to. I want to mention this. We run the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, and it's going to be November 1st this year. It's at the beautiful and spacious Memphis Hilton, and Cumulus is a partner with us. So it's, this is why we promote it here. But if you've never been to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, it's really fun. It's a great family. It's a great family day. Basically, we're starting at 9 in the morning and we're going till midnight. And it's, if you can imagine, a celebration of superheroes, science fiction, anime, video gaming, Lego. We have an entire Lego room, the Lego Lounge, where there's we have Lego competitions and building, and you can build Lego cars and race them and win prizes. And it's a really fun event. And we purposely keep the tickets really affordable. They're very affordable. You can bring your whole family. And the other thing is we're doing some performances this year. We have a really excellent, it's an off-Broadway show. They're doing the full show, Allan. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. It's called Through the Looking Screen. It's a one-woman operetta performed by the Quark Theater. And it's an operetta that's all about social media and online dating and everything. It's a very contemporary show. It sounds like it's going to be fun. We have cosplay contests. We have everything. And if you want to meet Allan, Allan's going to be set up there, right?
I will indeed.
And I might confuse him for Joe.
You might. It's not hard to do. We'll both be there, but it's really fun, and we really encourage you to go. It's a great family activity, and the Hilton is such a beautiful facility. So go to Memphis CFC to get tickets, and 901. I think our 901 Tix app will be. Link will be up shortly. But in the meantime, go over to memphiscfc.com and get your tickets today and learn more. And go follow us on Facebook at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. So you'll be hearing about that for a couple more weeks, and then then we'll be there. And also, I should say one more thing: we're extending the Halloween weekend, so we're having trick or treating there, and we have a Halloween after party that's sponsored by the Memphis Zombies and Monster Energy drinks. Nobody's falling asleep there, Allan. Monster Energy's bringing cases of energy drinks, and they always give away great swag. So go to memphiscfc.com to learn more. So, okay, well, Allan, let's get back to it. It's mushroom season.
It is. And I bring that up with mulch because I've had several clients and friends in the last couple of weeks. It rained. I got all these mushrooms coming up in my yard. What's wrong? Nothing. It's what they're supposed to do.
Do people think of mushrooms like weeds, maybe?
Sometimes.
Okay.
If you have no fungal growth going on in your yard, then you probably don't actually have a healthy yard.
Now, that's interesting. So we need some of that.
Yeah, you got to have, some stuff to help break down leaves and get rid of some of the stuff. And here in the Mid-South, we have a wide variety of mushrooms that pop up. However, for those of you out doing your mulch in your gardens and that kind of thing, I do want to throw in one horrible little critter story. Please be careful of the fire ants.
We're not kidding about that. They're dangerous.
My gosh. I stuck my left hand. I went to pick up a board and ended up with my left hand in a fire ant nest a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are just no fun and have no sense of humor.
No. If you have children, you got to really be careful. Don't let them near.
Yeah.
You got to check your yard. It can be dangerous.
It's almost swarm season for them. So if you've got fire piles, you've got the little fire ant nest in your yards, please nip down to your hardware store and get some ant killer, and let's keep them from spreading.
Usually
they
I'm
really
not
are pretty bad.
Usually I'm not in favor of slaughtering insects. This is the one case because, like I said, I mean, what you can get anaphylactic shock. with
Well,
this
they are
stuff.
an invasive species,
Right,
So
right.
I am all about let's not let them spread.
Okay.
So back to the mulch. Also, people discover generally after they've mulched or something, the next year, all kinds of mushrooms pop up. And I will tell you that if you have a smartphone, you can take a picture of it, and there's a pretty good chance it can tell you what kind of mushroom it is.
Really? There's an app for that.
There's
huh?
an app for that now. So, yes, a number of the mushrooms in the Mid-South are edible, and I will also tell you a number of them are not.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't want to play that game, Alan. I
don't, admire them, take pictures of them, admire the fact that you have them coming up in your flower bed or out in the yard, and they're just the fruiting body of a process that keeps our yards and trees, especially your trees, happy and healthy.
Okay.
Don't freak out if you run them over with the mower. Just don't worry about it. But definitely do not attempt to play with mushrooms unless you are very, very certain you know what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, we have everything from the very popular mushroom called a turkey tail, which grows on wood. So if you've got old wood or something around, you'll see them. And they really do look like little turkey tails.
Okay, but that's not a good thing.
No,
if
they're
got
beautiful.
Them on your, but if you have them on your trees,
you're going to find it on old wood. If it's growing on your tree is dying.
That's what I mean. It's like if you have this giant limb with those mushrooms on it, you better get it cut off.
Yeah,
house.
this is where you need to get with your arborist. But turkey tails, everybody will first thing everybody likes to remind you of is, hey, that's the stuff in the coffee. Yes, they are, but you don't know how to prep it. So enjoy them, leave them where they are. We also have death cap mushrooms in the Mid-South.
Death
cap mushrooms, and it is living up to its name. Leave it alone. Don't play with it. Don't eat it. Don't even think about it.
So in other words, boys and girls, simply put, consult your myconologist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because dying tickles.
Death cap is sort of like an easy giveaway. It's a little more.
It's a little white. It's a very obvious mushroom. You can look it up online, but do not freak out because you've got mushrooms coming up in your yard, because you also get one of my favorite things in the whole world. We actually have fairy ring mushrooms in the Mid-South.
Interesting.
So they will come up in your front yard in sort of a circular pattern.
Right.
And that is just because that's how the actual fungus grew underground.
Mushrooms are super interesting because, like you said, what you're seeing is just literally the tip of the iceberg of what's really going on underground. It's interesting to consider what's under there.
They form like a little circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way that they grow.
And they're, so don't freak out about them. You don't have to go buy some kind of spray or poison to get rid of them. It's going to be that kind of season. And for those of you that are mushroom harvesters, of course, you're going, Alan, shut up.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to know where the very expensive mushrooms are growing in the woods.
Oh, so they're out there competing. Because I think of some of these nature, like the bird watchers and stuff.
There are a few types of mushrooms that grow in the Mid-South out in the woods. They're not going to show up in your backyard, but they are rather valuable.
Really?
Yeah,
so
there's
people
some
are
gourmet.
out there.
There's some gourmet stuff growing out there that professional mycology hunters go after.
Are mushrooms because when you're saying this, I think of these truffle hunters.
A truffle is a mushroom that grows underground.
Yeah,
and it's around the root system of certain hardwoods. And as a matter of fact, you can even buy truffle inoculated trees to plant in your yard or at your farm.
Now, do toads actually use them as stools?
No. No. Welcome to
I
a
think
fairy
they tip
tale.
it over. So yeah.
Welcome to a fairy tale. However, at one facility I'm working at, there's a little pond nearby, And I would like to say there have got to be at least 100 little baby toads hopping around everywhere we go. Every time we pick something up, there go 4 of them. Every place we turn, and one that likes to chirp is under the front steps. He has his own little spot.
The loudmouth is.
And he is just under there living his best life, singing and dancing all day long. So it's pretty hilarious.
That's funny.
Welcome to fall. It's a great time of year. The temps have broken, but lots of cool things begin happening this time of year. So,
now, I know it's a trade secret and you're not going to say, but now I'm thinking of these mushroom hunters out there competing. And I mean, you probably know where they're going, right?
Yeah, I know exactly where they're going because I'll be going there in about 2 hours.
All right. All right. Well, there you go, folks. It's tooth and nail out there with the mushroom hunting. But when we come back in our great moments in building history, we're going to continue looking at Memphis landmarks with the Memphis Central Railway Station.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
People really don't know how to finish wood properly.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Very judgmental once again. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, there's too much to recap. Just listen to the show later in podcast form.
Absolutely.
No time to fool around, Allan. We got to get down to work. In a minute, we're going to get to our great moments in building history. But before we do, let's talk about our good buddy, Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Jay's overdue for a visit as well, I think. So, but Jay is all about the exterior protection of your home, from roofing to gutters to siding to windows, and all interior and exterior remodeling except kitchens and bathrooms. He doesn't want any part of that. I suppose he'd probably gut the room and reframe it and things like that, but he generally doesn't like to do that. So, but when you do have issues with the outside of your home, Jay is the man to call. Well, for one thing, especially his roofing expertise, Jay is always 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau. He is a GAF Master Elite Installer, and that is a big deal because GAF is their state-of-the-art roofing systems are so well engineered that they offer lifetime transferable warranties, which is a huge selling point for your home, and it gives you great peace of mind. And these roofs run much more efficiently. They make your home run cooler, and they last longer because they let the shingles they let your attic breathe. It's a great feature with their ridge cap vents and everything. But also Jay has something that makes him stand out. He's a former insurance agent, which is hugely helpful. And we mention that because sometimes you might have a problem with your home that will involve making a claim with your homeowner's policy. And that's not an easy task to navigate. It's a process, and you have to do things in the right order. So Jay really should be the first person you call. Get in touch with Jay. He's going to look at the situation. And if there is a way to make a claim with your homeowner's policy, he can help you navigate that whole process. And it takes something that's very scary and intimidating and turns it into something exciting. And also, we just love the energy and enthusiasm that Jay brings to every project. And also, Jay's prices are also very competitive because he keeps his overhead low. He focuses on the fundamentals that he needs for his business, and that savings gets passed along to you. So we love Jay Hill, and he always encourages you to call him directly. So when you call this number, you're going to talk to Jay. So give Jay a call at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. All right, well, here we go, Max.
And now, great moments in building history.
All right, Allan, you suggested this one. It is the Memphis Central Railway Station. Can I just say something? This was, ironically, I've only been in this building once in my entire life, but it was one of the first places I went to when I moved to Memphis. And it's because when I moved here from San Diego, I didn't have room to bring my comic book collection because there was like 1,000 comic books. So I shipped them via Amtrak. I paid them $100 and they shipped them from San Diego to Memphis. So I had to go pick them up at the station. I don't know that they do that anymore, but anyway.
Isn't it a hotel now?
I don't know. It looks cool though, Alan. So, It's an old building, right?
So, it's an old building on the site of an old building.
Oh,
so
okay, there you go.
It's kind of interesting in the fact that Memphis is best known for its shipping.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, we got the Mississippi River. Ta-da!
We're in the middle of the country.
We're right here in the middle. Memphis is America's distribution warehouse king and this is one of those locations that helped do it.
Yeah.
We are at crossroads because of Memphis, oddly, is in Tennessee.
What do you mean?
I say
Why
that
do you say
oddly
that? Yeah.
because most of Tennessee is southern Kentucky. It's rolling hills.
I'm thinking about,
it's
because
Piedmont
we're flat.
and all of that. And just as you get,
we're in the bottom
around
corner,
Milan, into Jackson, it flattens out, and Memphis is really the top of the Delta.
That's true. It is pretty flat here compared, even just going to Nashville.
We're just, we're in that transitional zone, and we're on a really big river, and we're still with plenty of deep water.
That's
so,
the
point. Rivers get shallower as they go up. So Memphis was best known for boats, shipping, and all of that. But about 1855, the Mississippi and Tennessee Railroad came in and, it needed to be right there by the water.
Yeah.
So it's
Makes
really
sense.
close to the water. So there's the railway. And the railway basically ran from the coast to Memphis and then could be distributed from there.
Right. I would guess the flatness of this landscape plays to our advantage now because it's much easier to do railroading on flat terrain, right? So.
Well, it did, and that gets us all the way through World War I.
Okay.
So now there's going to be a lot of auxiliary stuff that goes with the Memphis Central Station. So in 1914, it gets basically rebuilt, updated, and becomes the Grand Central Station.
Right.
So they got several platforms, and, there's World War I. There's all of the Roaring 20s. There's the 30s. We get into the 40s. So we get all the way through World War II, in which Memphis is still this massive shipping zone. But also a lot of auxiliary downtown Memphis is taking place because the railway is right there next to Beale Street.
Wait, I'm picturing where this is. I thought this
right
is
there
south.
at G.E. Patterson.
It's
right down there on South Main, 545 South Main.
Right.
But you're getting into Memphis proper just before you get to the major docks. So the station is kind of the beginning of the area that's going to produce the blues. This is where a lot of people came into Memphis. This was their first stop.
Well, I got a question about that because it's funny you mentioned the blues because, as we know, I grew up in Chicago. And if you look at a map, you go straight up. You just go straight up and you're in Chicago. And I meet so many people from Chicago, and they said that back in the day that it was almost like a conveyor belt. Some people come up, some people come down.
New Orleans to Memphis to Chicago.
And Chicago's known for the blues, and so it's interesting that's a point. I don't know. That's very cool.
Well, there are also two other buildings really close to the Memphis Central Station that wind up with a really kind of bizarre history that's adjacent and that would be because of a young man with $125 in his pocket named Abe Plow.
Abe Plow.
Abe Plow. And everybody goes, huh? Like what's, like the guy that invented copper tone.
I was wondering, I know the name, but okay. He invented copper tone?
Well, yes. And he invented it at his building right there on South Main.
Now, why did he choose the logo?
Oh, yeah, it is a little, it's not politically correct, the little kid with the,
Well,
I guess guys, it was more harmless back then.
That was a corporate decision, not so much Abe.
Yeah.
That was later when it became Sharing Plow.
Okay.
But little Abe Plow was a pharmacist who mixed chemicals and stuff like that. And his first big success was things to help women with their hair.
Wait, what? Okay.
His first big products as a chemist was to help people with their hair.
I'm just picturing going from that to sunscreen. So.
Well, because he was right there at the railway station, like honestly across the street from it, he met all kinds of people from all walks of life. And people coming down from Chicago would get sunburned very badly when they got to the South.
Sure, yeah.
And people that worked outside in the weather all the time, their hair took a beating. So this man was very astute.
He was right there.
And he was literally at ground zero. And a couple of the buildings that he owned are still down there in that area. And one of them is called Ernestine and Hazel's because they were beauticians using his products.
Oh, yeah. And that place is haunted, right?
Oh, well, accordingly, but there's a really rich history because of Central Station. So this is a lot of people's introduction to either coming from the north down or coming from the south up. Memphis was that mixing point. And not that horribly far away, one little carriage ride away was the famous Peabody.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking anybody coming into town came this way.
Because
back in the day, before cars and all the others, this is exactly where you were going.
This is exactly where you were going. So, prior to it becoming Grand Central Station, it was the Calhoun Street Station.
Yeah.
And as Memphis grew, now, keep in mind also the amount of shipping going on down there because cotton was king.
Right.
The amount of barges and ships and commerce at this time is amazing. So it's no wonder there's a railway station right in the dead center of it.
It's interesting when you look at that. If you go downtown Memphis and you start imagining what this looked like 100 and something years ago, and all the locations of these buildings start making a lot of sense. I didn't know that about Ernestine and Hazel's. I thought it was just an interesting name. I didn't know they were beauticians. That's
using Abe Plow's products that later became Sharing Plow and Coppertone.
Wow. Okay. Wow. We're learning some good history here. This is really interesting stuff. And actually, the building, we haven't even gotten into that. The building looks cool, too.
We're doing that next.
All right. We're coming back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Now, maybe you don't have any tumors. Well, don't worry. If you sat on a folding chair in the lobby and weren't wearing lead underpants, we took care of that, too.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Full service, right, Max? And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in our Great Moments in Building History, we're continuing looking at Memphis landmarks. And today, Allan is teaching us all about the Memphis Central Railway Station. And I didn't know a lot of this stuff. It's interesting, the spillover effect. You have a station back in the 1800s and early the early 20th century, and all the businesses and all these things that sprout up right around it. It's pretty interesting.
We still have Schwab's downtown because of this. We still have...
A. Schwab's came from that?
Well, this is where the people were.
Yeah.
All right, if you think about it, there used to be a Carter's Feed store right down there. Of all of these businesses were there because this is where the passengers were. And
everybody
they were
coming
all
into
within
town.
Walking distance, and this is why we had trolleys.
Well, there you go. You had the trolley lines.
We had a trolley line that went back and forth. So welcome to why the Memphis downtown is laid out the way it is. Basically, the anchor in the south is the railway. The anchor to the north is now where the pyramid is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had this long, and that is why everything is kind of long and kind of straight shots to get to it.
I got a dumb question. Well, okay, I'm doing the math here because last time we discussed the old bridge, which it was the railway bridge. Which came first? Was it the bridge and then the railway station?
The railway station's been there since about 1850.
Okay,
the one we have now has been there since 1914.
So this just made the bridge allowed them to go north. Basically.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
This is what made that connection up to Chicago.
All right, gotcha.
Right. So here we go.
And it's probably why they built the bridge where they did, right?
Bingo.
There you go.
You suddenly start to see how all these decisions dominoed into each other.
I'm just looking at, because, I'm just kind of nerding out right now because I love seeing some of this historical architecture in the city. Whatever happened to this might be a bit of a brief aside, but the Union Station?
The Union Station basically got closed down in the 70s because Amtrak took over everything, and there really wasn't enough business to keep it going.
Yeah, once you're flying everywhere.
It looks a lot prettier than the Memphis Central Station. No offense.
It does, and it did. However, the Memphis Central Station, let's talk briefly about building it, along with a lot of other buildings, and I'll even pick on some of the restaurants down there, were built as bases for other construction.
Oh, now that's interesting.
Now, because keep in mind, you also had a heavy immigration coming in. A lot of Greeks were moving into the area, a.k.a. like the Rendezvous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ta-da.
Oh, that's where the Rendezvous came from.
This is why all of this was happening. And the businesses were all basically within some kind of walking distance right there of the building itself. Was designed, if you look at it, it looks like a two-tier building.
It looks like a bottom, and then they added the top.
The bottom is this rock-solid railway station. It is designed to handle trains rumbling up to it. And then when they built onto the other parts, the offices and extended area, it was really still designed to handle the winds off the river, storms that could blow across, and the constant shaking of trains.
Yeah.
So over the years, Max, it's not a true brutalism. It is a more Roman-esque type building, but it is built with a lot of the brutalistic tendencies.
It said Roman Doric.
Yep. And that means we are function over form. So is this the most attractive building? No. But is it built? There's another building that will be built in Memphis not too long from now by the Sears Corporation.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And it's going to be built along these same principles. It's built to be sturdy.
Right.
So,
which is why you can repurpose it years later.
Exactly. So 71, Amtrak takes over. Of the Memphis stop is known as the worst possible train station in the country. Of the Memphis Transit Authority took it over in 98 and put about $20 or $30 million into it. It got renovated again, and now there's even a hotel in it.
Right. I mean, it's cool looking now.
It's now, it's continued to grow with downtown.
Yeah.
So in 2019, they poured a lot more money into it. There's a luxury hotel that's open there. There's restaurants. There's
the arcade is right there.
The arcade restaurant, which is a direct response to having this here.
That makes sense now that you're saying it. You get off the train, you want to get something to eat.
You want to get a little something to eat. You're right there, and that is why the arcade has been there so long. It is a Memphis, it is an absolute standard in Memphis. So welcome to the combination of location, function, and form, and this building is still a nice central piece to a lot of the wonderful things that have happened in the Memphis downtown.
It's interesting too, because when we look at the history of our country and even history in Europe and around the world, the invention of trains really was a game changer. The railway system. I mean, you talk about connecting the country and changing the whole landscape of our world, really.
And if you think about it, it was a far more efficient system than the automobile.
Yeah, because it's
because if we're going to move freight,
right.
one train engine can haul dozens and dozens of cars and get from point A to point B.
The only thing is that it holds up traffic and it's slow to brake.
Well, there wasn't traffic back then.
Good point.
There wasn't traffic. We came along later with the automobile to complain about it, but it was there first.
But mostly, if you lay it out the right way, it's not really blocking that much traffic. It's just going cross country. It's usually,
it's accepting what you have. Mm-hmm. And one of the big lessons from the Memphis Central Station is if you built it right and you put it in the right spot and you take care of it, it continues to function. So this is a leftover location with a leftover technology from 1855 that is still serving the community today.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
And then you get all the really cool history that goes along with it that wouldn't exist without it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it'd be fun to take a little walking tour because even everything you said, too, some of the shops and some of the art galleries down there on Main Street and just it all makes sense when you consider who was getting off those trains, where they were from, and
where were they from and, where were the tourists? Well, this is why, Abe was down there founding Sharing Plow. This is why the Arcade Restaurant has been feeding Memphis and celebrities alike for over 100 years. This is why so many of those locations, up to and including the Peabody, are where they're located and why they're there and why a pyramid was a great idea.
Yeah. I would say if you're new to Memphis or if you've lived here a long time, it's worth taking a little stroll down there because now I'm thinking of the brewery and I'm thinking of all the stuff that's just right there in that blast radius that maybe came about because of the railway station.
Absolutely.
So, pretty interesting deep dive there, Allan, I got to say, man. But wow, the show just evaporated before our ears. It's already over, so we got to get out of here. So you've been listening to another dynamic episode of Tool Talk Radio. So on behalf of my buddy, Allan Gilbreth, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.